Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Laura, for those of you that do not know, and in today's video I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I think that's what it's called. And this is a book tag that's been around for the past few years here on Booktube that people will do in the middle of the year, which is about, you know, around June, July. This book tag is really just going to let you into how my reading has gone so far in 2018. So far this year, I think I've read like 35 books, which is pretty decent for me in all honesty. So yeah, the questions in this tag just kind of pertain to things that I've read during the year and things I'm looking forward to. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and get started with the questions. The first question is, what is the best book that I've read so far in 2018? And for that one, I'm gonna have to say it is Stay Sweet by Siobhan Vivian. I actually recently did a book talk on this with a really big non-spoiler section, so if you haven't read the book, you can check that out if you're interested. But this was my first 5-star rated book of 2018, and I loved it so much. This is such a fun summery contemporary. It takes place during the summer, so it gives you all the vibes, and it has to do with ice cream, an ice cream shop. So it just makes you want ice cream, but like, that's not bad. So I'll have the video where I do the book talk linked down below, so you can go watch it if you're interested in learning more about this book. But this is definitely my favorite of the year so far. Question 2 is the best sequel that I've read so far this year. And you guys know, whenever I'm doing book tags, I like to, you know, make the questions my own if they don't really fit my mold. This year I've only read 2 series, and one of them was a series that I have reread, and that is the Seabreeze series by Abby Glines, and this is book 7 or 8? 7? I think it's book 7. I'm not sure. It's called Bad For You by Abby Glines. Obviously 2018 is not the first time that I read this book, but I did reread the whole series, and this one just happens to be my favorite, and I prefer it over the other series sequels that I have read this year. So definitely Bad For You by Abby Glines. It's one of my favorites. Number 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet, but you are excited to, and for that I'm choosing Save the Date by Morgan Matson. This recently came out in the past month, and I'm so excited to read it. It has to do with a girl and her sister is having a wedding, and it takes place during that wedding weekend where chaos ensues, and it's crazy. I have a feeling I'm gonna like this one just because all of Morgan Matson's books that I've read in the past I've been a huge fan of, and I'm really excited. I actually met Morgan on her tour stop for this book, and she signed it to me. I will show you. Look at that. She's so sweet. Literally like the sweetest author I've ever met in my whole life, and I'm really excited to read her book. So let me know if any of you guys have got to this one yet, because I'm super excited to pick it up, hopefully soon. Question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of 2018, and for that question I'm going to choose All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover, which is actually coming out like wicked soon, like this month soon. So I'm really excited to read this book. Some of you guys may know that her last book was a little bit of a disappointment to me, so I'm excited to see if this one is any better, and I've heard good things about it so far from people that had advanced copies of it, so I'm looking forward to it. I hear that it's a little bit different from her past books, which I think is a good thing, but nonetheless I'm really excited to pick that up very soon. Question number 5 is your biggest disappointment of 2018, and for that one I'm gonna have to go with As She Fades by Abby Glines. You guys know that generally I am a really big fan of Abby Glines, but some of her books are a miss for me, this one included. You guys may or may not have seen my rant review on one of her other books, so definitely not all of her books measure up to like the Seabreeze series, which is my favorite, or like her Field Party series, which I love. This was a new young adult book that came out. It is a standalone, which is kind of unusual for her. This book follows a girl who actually gets in a car accident with her boyfriend, and then her boyfriend ends up in a coma, and she's like totally fine, and she doesn't know what she's gonna do with her life because they've always done everything together, and then she meets this new boy, and I don't know, there was just something that happened in this book that I don't want to give away, but it was so crazy and like out of the blue, unexpected, and then not explained. Like, you know when there's some type of plot twist and then the author doesn't even like take a second to be like, oh yeah, like, I don't really know. It made me so mad when I read it. I did have a little bit of a Goodreads review on the book. I never did a full book talk on it just because I didn't have much to say except that it was a disappointment. I don't remember how many stars I gave it, maybe like 2. I don't know. I liked the first half of the book, but the second half, really ruined it for me. So that's definitely my biggest disappointment. Question 6 is your biggest surprise. For that one, I'm gonna go with By Your Side by Kasie West, not just because I absolutely loved this book and it's my favorite by her, but because it launched me into this huge spiral of just reading all of her books, and then I just became completely encompassed with all of her readings, and I'm obsessed with like every single one of her books. I absolutely love her as an author. You guys may or may not have seen my recent video where I kind of did a breakdown of all of Kasie West's books. If you haven't seen it, I'll have it linked down below, but it was really fun to do. I was so happy to talk about her, and that is why also for question number 7, which is your favorite new author, even though I had read from her before, I hadn't read all of her books until this year, so she's definitely one of my favorite authors of the year, and now just in general. It's so loud outside, oh my god. But yeah, I think this year definitely Kasie West turned into an auto-buy author for me, so this book definitely launched that whole spiral. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush, and for that I'm gonna go with Jessie from the Lost and Found series. This was a really fun one that I read earlier this year, and Jesse is just like the cutest boy ever, and he's so sweet and wonderful, and I love the name Jesse for a boy. I just think it's perfect and I'm obsessed with it, so I don't know, I really enjoyed him in this book, and he's super duper adorable, so definitely Jesse would be my newest crush. Question number 9 is your newest favorite character, and for that one I'm gonna go back to Stay Sweet by Siobhan Vivian and say Amelia, the main character in this book, is my new favorite character. If you did watch my book talk on this one, I did talk a little bit about how much I connected to Amelia as a person, and we had a lot of similarities that I found when I read this book, so I definitely love that I had that connection, and it made me love her as a character, so definitely Amelia. Number 10 is a book that made you cry, and for that one I'm gonna go with my most recent read, which was Little Do We Know by Tamara Ireland Stone. This is a newer release that came out in the past month, and I decided to pick it up, and I read it in one day. It was a really good read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. There were some things in it that I wasn't 100% satisfied with. If any of you guys have read the book and you want to know what that is, you can tweet me or something and I'll reply to you. But I don't want to spoil it or anything. But all in all, I did really enjoy this book, and it definitely got emotional, and there was some tears shed while I read this book. I think also because I read it in one sitting, I was just like on emotional overload. But I definitely did really enjoy this book. I think Tamara Ireland Stone is a fantastic writer, so nonetheless, this was a great read. Even though it was sad, I recommend it. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy, and for that one I don't actually have the physical book because I listened to this on audiobook, and that is I've Got This Round by Mamrie Hart. Some of you guys may know Mamrie from her YouTube channel You Deserve a Drink. I absolutely love her. I think she's hilarious. I met her at BookCon a few years ago and I got her first book. This one was actually her second book, and I decided to listen to it on audio because she was the one that narrated it, so I thought it would be a really fun idea to listen to her tell her own stories firsthand, and it definitely was. Listening to her literally laughing at her own jokes and just telling her stories in her personal narrative was the absolute best, especially because I'm such a big fan of her, but because, as many of you guys know, she is a comedian. It was definitely a book that made me happy, and especially because I listened to it, I think it made me that much more happy, so that was a really good one as well. Question number 12 is my favorite book to movie adaptation of 2018, and I was trying to think of what my favorite is that I've actually read from, and the only adaptation I saw this year that I actually read was for the last 50 Shades of Grey movie, and I did not like that movie. If you watched my review on it, I'll have it linked down below. So I decided to go with a movie that I actually haven't read the book for, but I did really enjoy the movie, and that is Love, Simon, which is based on the book by Becky Albertalli, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which I just haven't read yet. I really want to, especially because I loved the movie so much. I thought it was fantastic. I saw it more than one time in theaters because I loved it that much. It was a great movie. I really recommend it, but I know I should really read the book, so I'm probably gonna do that sometime this year. Possibly. Question 13 is your favorite review that you've done this year, and while I haven't done too many like solo book talks this year, there definitely was one that stuck out in my mind, and that is for Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. This is the book I was talking about a little bit previously. I did a full book talk on this one because I didn't love it as much as I usually enjoyed Colleen Hoover's books, especially because there's been quite controversy surrounding Colleen Hoover and her books for the past few years on Booktube. I've definitely tried tried to like open my eyes more when I've read her books and not just get like sucked into like the romance and how adorable it is. Like I've tried to read more critically when it comes to her, just so I'm personally able to share with you guys my true feelings. And I feel like I really finally did that with this book, and I was totally honest in my book talk, which I'm really proud of because I know so many of you guys expect me to just like gush on about Colleen Hoover all the time, but I think it's important to let you guys know when I do see a flaw in a book and I just can't brush it off. So I'm really happy that I didn't do that and I stuck to my true self when I reviewed this book, so that's definitely my favorite one I've done. I'll have it linked down below if you haven't seen it. Question number 14 is the most beautiful book that you have bought or received from someone this year so far, and for that one I'm going with a book that was actually sent to me from Penguin, so thank you very much, Penguin. But this is If You Come Softly by Jacqueline Woodson, and this is actually the 20th anniversary edition cover. I love how it's a mostly black cover, but then you have like all the floral design, so it doesn't even look dark. Like it looks like a bright enough cover, and I just think like the illustrations are so beautiful, and like the two people, it's like so pretty, and it continues on through the back. And then the actual book is yellow, which is like my favorite color. So I don't know, this is the one that came to mind when I saw the question. I thought it was very beautiful. Haven't read this one yet. Let me know if you've read it, but I think it's really pretty. Okay, and the last question is number 15, which is what books do you need to finish by the end of 2018? And I don't really think I have like a full-fledged answer for this, just because I'm a very casual reader and I don't feel like I need to read anything, if you know what I mean. But I would love to possibly read some books that I've had on my shelf for like years, so that would be a good thing to do. Maybe get rid of some of my oldest TBR books. And also maybe read like a new series. I think that would be fun for me, especially because you guys probably know I'm not super into like series. I mostly read contemporary standalones or contemporary series, but I'd love to get into like something kind of out of my comfort zone and maybe read a little bit more diversely too. So if you have any recommendations for any of those, let me know down below. I'd love to hear from you. So guys, that was the mid-year book freakout tag. I still hope I'm saying that right. I hope you guys enjoyed this tag video. Let me know if you did like it in a comment down below, and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell if you haven't done that. You guys know the drill. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye!